Everywhere in this world, we find the beauty of maths and its many unfolded mysteries. And maybe the most beautiful mystery among those terms is pi, which is the most widely used constant all over the world. Starting from calculus of mathematics to quantum mechanics of physics, this constant has a unique place in the history of mankind. So what is pi actually? If we take any circle and divide its circumference by the length of its diameter, then for every circle we will get a same constant ratio which is nearly equal to 3.14159, and this ratio is generally known all over the world as pi. Though the symbol for pi was used first by William Jones in 1706, it has a long history. The journey of pi started in the hands of ancient Babylonian people about 4,000 years ago. Long time, isn't it? They thought that the value of pi was somewhere between 3.125 and 3.13. You might wonder hearing the fact that at an age when people only hunted using iron tools and had to encounter massive sized animals like mammoths which actually threatened their lives, even then they thought a lot about maths and its beauty. It's still a matter of wonder to us. The estimate of the Babylonians was not so bad, though it is only 1% accurate according to the calculation we get nowadays. Sometime later, the ancient Egyptians estimated pi as 3.16, which was a bit inaccurate. Actually, they used a simple method to do this. If we actually talk about polygons, then we will observe that the more number of sides it has, the more it will look like a circle. So, circle can be considered as a polygon having infinite number of sides. And for measurement, they took a polygon that had large number of sides, and after measuring the total length of those sides, they would divide it by the length of a diagonal of that polygon, as the diagonal seemed to be the diameter of that so-called large polygon or somewhat circle. Quite simple, huh? But this idea made Greek scientist Archimedes think a bit differently. In 220 BC, he used an extended form of this process to find out the value of pi. He took a square and saw that a square could be attached in two ways with the circle, either inside it or outside it. If the square stays inside, then the diameter will be its diagonal, and if the circle stays inside the square, then the length of one side will be its diameter. He added the length of those sides of the squares individually and divided it by their respective diameters. Finally, when he took an average, the result was between 2.82 and 4.00. Not even close though. But he started thinking from here. He thought, okay, let's increase the number of sides of this polygon. And when he started to apply this logic for larger polygons, he actually progressed towards a value of 3.14, which was much more accurate than the previous ones. It was actually correct up to 2 digits. He actually ended up doing the same process for a 96-sided polygon, and unfortunately, while thinking about this, he got killed in the hands of Roman soldiers who attacked Syracuse, his hometown. The last words he told were, "Don't disturb my circles." Maybe he was thinking of some other ways to invent more digits after pi, but alas, he did not get that scope. And with his death, the advancement of pi in Europe stopped for a millennium, but at the same time, many large mathematical minds started growing in China, Persia, and India. Chinese mathematicians used a similar method to obtain pi up to 4 decimal places by measuring a polygon of 3072 sides, from where they got the value of pi up to 4 decimal places, 3.1416. Later, they used 12,000 sides to take that value up to 6 decimal places. Well, if you actually followed those processes, then you would eventually end up spending your whole life only to find the value of pi up to 6 or 7 digits. So, something required a change. And here's where the talented Indian and Persian mathematicians came to help. Using the basis of algebra that the great Arab mathematician Muhammad ibn Musa al-Khwarizmi had founded, they tried to simplify their work by applying algebra massively. And inspired by this idea, in 1630, a European mathematician, Christian Greinberger, used the polygon method in an algebraic way and counted the value of pi up to 38 decimal places. Using a polygon of, can you guess how many sides does that polygon have? 10 to the power 40 sides. Imagine that you are counting it and eventually you would end up dying only calculating up to 10 to the power 15 sides. So it was a very much large number, you can actually not guess it. At the arrival of Renaissance, the thoughts of great mathematicians like René Descartes and others enabled other mathematicians to think more creatively rather than just following the traditional methods of counting through polygons. They changed the whole way of calculating pi and developed some infinite series to calculate the values of pi. So what's an infinite series? Basically, an infinite series is a series of addition of numbers which have a particular ratio among themselves. Though an infinite series extends up to infinity, it might have a finite sum. Consider this example, where the numbers get smaller at a ratio of half. But still, through logic we tell that the more terms we add, the result will progress towards 0.99. And from this we can tell that if we had added them up to infinity, the sum would be 1. The mathematicians thought that the similar idea can be used for pi. They generated some infinite series from where they could calculate the value of pi up to many decimal places. And with this idea, some Indian mathematicians first came up with a series of trigonometrical ratio 10 for the value of pi. We know that 10 of pi by 4 equals to 1. So tan inverse 1 obviously equals to pi by 4. And if we replace the 4 in this side, then we will get 4 into tan inverse 1 equals to pi. So from this value of pi, the series would look like somewhat this. And the credit of this series goes to Indian mathematician Madhava, who is thought to be the founder of this series. And through this series, you could calculate the value of pi up to 11 digits accurately. Following those, the invention of pi up to 100 digits was done by European mathematician John Machine in 1706. The same year, the Greek symbol pi was used to express 3.14159 and so on. And many other mathematicians brought out many other infinite series that converged into pi faster. So there arose different series, all of which eventually would converge to pi. And lastly, the most wondrous and efficient mathematical function to calculate the value of pi was invented in 20th century by the Indian great prodigy of maths, Srinivas Ramanujan. And with that, the manual calculations of pi came to an end. And as it was the era of supercomputers, the whole charge of calculating pi was transferred to computers to calculate more efficiently and quickly. And in 1940s, we got the opportunity to calculate pi up to 2000 decimal places through this. And from then, the powers of supercomputers have been increasing, and simultaneously the digits of pi after decimal places have been increasing exponentially. And eventually it reached to a trillionth digit after decimal in the 21st century. The person who holds the world record of calculating pi is Ima Haruka, who calculated pi up to 31 trillion digits using Google's cloud computing service. And it is thought that this record will be broken again and again till this humankind collapses. At this stage, a question arises. Why do we need such massive numbers? The answer is, first of all, pi is a very good random number generator. If we look at the first 200 billion digits of pi, then we will observe that each of the numbers between 0 to 9 appear more or less equally, approximate to 20 billion times. So the probability of getting any of those 10 digits in pi is exactly the same, about 10%. As the probability of getting each number is about 10%, you can actually smell of a great mystery in here. For this randomness, cryptographers use them frequently to break codes. And why should we continue counting? Actually, out of curiosity, people invent many great things. For instance, while calculating pi, mathematicians eventually invented one of the most important inventions, the infinite series. So if all of us try to calculate the values of pi in, say, for many different ways, we will eventually end up generating some beautiful mathematical inventions that will be much helpful for us, and if not for pi, for other calculation purposes. Still, we human beings are much weird. As curious beings, just like a random Babylonian person who once asked what is pi, in the end, at least someone will wonder what is the next digit after the 1,000 trillionth digit of pi? And this is the curiosity that has generated brilliant ideas for ages. So let us keep questioning. Thank you everyone, hope you have enjoyed this video.